Hello guys, so today we are going to create a landing page. So we are going to use two programming language very famous, which is HTML and CSS. So in this video, we are going to create a simple landing page which can be used to promote some activities or any kind of business. First, before we start, I want you to subscribe to my channel to support me, and if you can like also the video to help me growing my audience. So the main software I use to create this landing page is my browser, Google Chrome, and the left side, and VS Code, which is an integrated development environment. So this software is going to help me write code quickly and in more efficient way. So the first thing we are going to do is to create a folder. So all my projects is going to be stored inside this folder. So I can open a new folder, and then on my desktop, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new folder there. I can call it landing page with HTML and CSS and open. So the next thing to do when I create my folder, we are going to create the main files we need in this project. So for that, I'm going to use different ways. The first way to create folder and files, we can use inside the terminal. Inside the terminal, I'm going to type some commands. So here, I will start with the index.html, which is a file where we will write all our HTML code. So the first thing you need to understand is that we are going to separate the CSS code and the HTML code. These two languages is write in separate files, and it's a better practice to proceed like this. Index HTML new index HTML. Right, then I will create encoding CSS. I will create a CSS folder. Inside this CSS folder, I will create a style CSS. Right. Then I can use also the right click, and then I can create a folder there with, and we are going to create EMG because we are going to store some image we use inside the project. So now we are ready to start writing our code, and I will start with the index.html. Here, the index.html is where I'm going to write my HTML code, and HTML is a programming language designed to organize and structure the content of your page. So to do that, we are going to use different kind of tags, and the first tags I'm going to use is the doc type tags. So we can do it like this, doc type. And then we have to precise the type of the file. So this is an HTML file. So I'm going to write HTML there. In the second line, we need to use the HTML tag. So as you can see, there is plugins who help me to write quickly the tags. So I just need to write the beginning of the tags sometimes, and I have many propositions, and I just need to type on enter, and that's why it can generate the right tag for me. These features is come from some plugins I installed before. So this is one of the powerful features of VS Code, because you can install many plugins and use it to to improve and to increase productivity when you write your code. After creating this tag, we are going to create a head tag, right? Inside this head tag, we are going to write some other tags. This couple of tags inside the head tag is used by the browser to get some information on the file. So all the tag inside this head tag is not going to appear on my web page. We start with the meta tag, and the meta tag is used to get information to the browser. So here with the char set attribute, we're going to precise which kind of encoding we want. So the encoding inside this file is UTF-8, which is one of the most used value for the char set attribute. All right, then I'm going to use the viewport. So name viewport. Yes, viewport, right? Name. So content, sorry, content width equal device width initial scale going to be, sorry, initial scale is going to be equal to 1. Initial scales is 1. So this line means we are saying to our brother, to the brother, that the width of the page must fit the width of the device used by my visitor, by the users. Okay, so if the users use a phone, user's viewport is going to fit the phone. If the user displays a land page on the screen, a computer screen, which is more large, the web page, the viewport of the web page, right, is going to fit the whole width of our screen. So this is what we are currently saying to the browser. So here I can put there, forget, but yes. So next we can precise also something, another metadata, which is for the compatibility, HTTP equivalence is content maybe EA equal age, right? So this line means if the browser is Internet Explorer, it means if the browser is Internet Explorer, he must use the Edge version, which is the last version and the most compatible version. This is what this line means for the browser. Then we are going to use the link tag, and the link tag, inside the link tag, we are going to precise in the href CSS, which is our folder, and we select our file still CSS. So with this link tag, we link our CSS files with our HTML files. So now the two files is binding, right? At the end of this head tags, we will add the last tag, which is a title tag, and the title tag is the title, the text which gonna appear inside the tab title. So for example, if I try to display, so let me finish. Here I'm going to use body. If I try to display if I try to display this page like this, I can use, so here, if I want to display it on my browsers, I can use right click. I have a plugin called Live Server, which help me to refresh my page, my web page, anytime I save the page, some change. So for now, as you can see, our page is empty. So we don't add some content because all the content we add here is just for the browser. The purpose of this content is to get some technical information to the browser on our files, but we don't give to the browser information or content to display on the page. So now we are going to do that inside the body tag. So inside the body tag, what we are going to write there, first, we are going to create a header. So we use header, which is a semantic tags, and all the semantic tags is used because they have meanings. The browser can understand the meanings of these tags because you have other type of tags like the div tags or the span tags. They don't have a special meanings. They can be used in different situations, and so one of the best practice is to use as much possible the semantic tags. So here I use a header, and I will precise inside as attribute an ID. So the ID is gonna be showcased right here inside. We are going to place the H1, which is heading tags, and inside that we are going to say welcome in the mountain, for example, right? And if I click on save, what appears here is my title. You see, so inside the body we have the content we are going to display on our web page, right? So next, we are going to create a small paragraph, right? So to write a paragraph, you can use the p tag. So the p tag, inside the p tag, we can say, for example, you like to visit nature. So you are in the right place, right? Make a mistake. The right place. All right. We can also say how hostels. Sorry, I just invented something. So I can say how hostel is located in the valley of Manaka. I invent just something. This place doesn't exist really. So you will appreciate your journey by walking through the mountain. By walking through the mountain around of our place. Okay. I think we have enough text to display. And to finish, inside this header, we are going to add a link. So a link with the href attribute. So for now, as it's not a multi-page website, so we don't gonna use some links but here inside this href attribute, you can precise a value, links as a value. So you can put some URL here. You can put also all the relative path to another files. If you have, for example, in the case where you have multiple multiple HTML files, you can precise the relative path to these files, to other files, and then in this way you're gonna reach these files or this file when you click on the button. So this is a way you can navigate through different pages. But here in our case, we just create a dead link and we can say read more because we just want to create one page, a land page, and we don't want to create external link. So now we have some content, and before we continue, we can add other fake content at the bottom of the header. But for now, we just going to toggle on our CSS, and we are going to start adding some style to our content. This first part of content, right? So next, the first thing when you start writing CSS code, you need to make what we call a reset CSS. You need also to separate your CSS code by different parts. So the first part is almost the same in a different project. It's gonna be the general, I used to call it general style, and inside it, I'm going to do what we call reset CSS. It's just that I put margin, which is a property, and here you at the start place you have a global selector, so it's gonna select all the tags we have inside our HTML, and it will apply to these tags the same property. And here we're gonna precise the value. So to start, we are going to set the value on 0. Same thing for the padding. So padding and margin are two properties which set some space between a specific content. For example, I can open here on the browsers. I can do a right click and then I'm going to inspection or inspector. It depends of your browser. And then here at the bottom, you have different tags and different way to inspect your page. So here you can see that if I choose some elements, my body element, you see. So this is my header, right? And you can see my title in H1 tags. You can see in orange, this is the margin. Margin is always an orange color. So here you can see the value of the margin. Then you have the border and the padding. And this is the width of our content. So around our content, we have different kind of space we can specify. So later on inside our code, I'm going to explain step by step the meaning of each properties we use, right? And you are going to understand. So then I'm going to use so the body selector is going to allow me to select my body tag, and then I can precise which property I want to apply on my body tags. So on all, the property is going to apply on my body tag and all the child tags. So all the tag inside the body. So body tag is like a parent tag of all the other tags inside this tag. So here we have font family. When I precise the font family, it's set which kind of value. So the font family allow us to apply a kind of style to our text. So here is Arial first, and in priority you have a priority. So if it doesn't find Arial font family, it's gonna use Helvetica. If not, it's gonna use sans serif, which is a default. Then you have font size, which is used to define the size of the text. Then you can set the color. For me, I used to start with some colors like this, for example, and then I cover the color value, and then I use the panel to define a special color I want. You can use also hexadecimal, right? You have a different manner to define your color. You can use hexadecimal, you can use RGB or RGBA, you can use HTML, but the most used is RGB and hexadecimal. So here you can use, for example, I'm going to set, for example, to be, I see it before, yes, this one look nice, BB6 6111, all right. So you see, the color has changed. Next, we're gonna use line 8 to define the height of our text. So here I can use 1.6. You can see that we have more space in between our line, right? So this is enough for the body tags. Now we're gonna create specific style for our header, right? Header style. Here, to select the header tags, we define an attribute showcase, and when your selectors need to match an ID, you use the hashtag, right? The hashtags means you want to select an ID, and here is the name of the ID showcase. We define it later. Here inside our showcase selector, we are going to define a couple of properties. First, we are going to define a background, which is a shortcut. And here we are going to specify an URL with an image, because what I want to do there is to add an image as a background of my headers. But I don't have the image for now. So we are going to this website, Pexels. And Pexels is a website where you can download some free image. You can use it freely. You can use for your projects or for any kind of needs. So here, for example, I'm going to take nature, and we are going to choose. We can select this one, we download. All right, then wait a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it inside my EMG folder. I use the desktop to do that. Folder inside my EMG. The folder we create on the desktop, you can go inside your download folder, and then you copy paste or you cut the image and you paste on your download page. I do it, and now you can see that my image appear inside my folder there. So what we're gonna do, we're going to use this image as background. So to do that, we are going to specify there EMG. Then we are inside the style folder, so we need to do that first, right? And then we go to CSS, EMG, and then we find if I save. Now you can see my image but the image is not well displayed. So we need to add more property to arrange, position, and other features link it with our image. So what we're going to do first is we are going to use the background size. Background size help you define the size of the image. One thing I need to do also, because now you see that the header doesn't take all the height of our browser of our page. So we need to change the height of the header to see our image in all the full screen. So what I'm going to do is height.vh. So VH means viewport height. So this is one of the units you can use to define the height of some content. You can use pixel, you can use EM, you have different kind of units, but this is one you can use to define the height. And now you can see our image is well displayed on all the screen. Then we are going to use another property, background. I use the background size above. Now I need to position it in the center. So I position center. All right. So you see that the image is now centered compared to the web page. We want to change the place of our header and put it in the center of the page. So to do that, we are going to use another famous concept in CSS, which is the flex box. So what we are going to do is display flex, right? And display flex, as you can see, the position of our content inside the showcase has changed it. And we are going to say flex direction column. In this way, you can see that the header is put above of the paragraph, and the paragraph is above of the link. So this is a column disposition. We have other position, like the row position. The row position. This is a column position. You can use also the row direction. So the row direction is the direction by default. For our needs, we are going to use column display flex. All right. With the display flex, you can use two other properties, which is justify content, center, and line item, which is center also. And now you can see our text is there. We are going to add a few padding because you can see that the text is too close from the border, border of the page, right? You don't have some space, and this is not a good thing for the design and the responsive, right? So that's why we are going to add a small padding. So what we want is no vertical padding, but horizontal padding of 20 pixels, for example. We can add 25 pixels. Okay. Now you see we have some space there. And another thing, we can see that our text is not aligned. The alignment of the text is not center. So you can see that this is a left alignment because all the text start from the left side, right? You have some space there. And to change that, we are going to use the text align property. So the text align property, we put center, and now you see we have the same space on the left and on the right, right? Then I'm going to select showcase. I'm going to select inside the showcase and tag. I'm going to select the H1 tag, which is my header, right? This one. And I'm going to apply some few properties. Use the font size. You can change the font size to make it bigger. We can add 50 pixels, for example. So now you can see that title becomes bigger. We can use also showcase, like p tag. Now here inside this, this is the way I use to select elements inside my parent elements. So this is a way to select the p tag inside the header, which have the showcase ID. So this is the meaning of this line. So I say select the p tag inside the element which have the ID showcase. All right. So the hashtags, all the ID name start with the hashtag. Okay. So now what we are doing, we want for the p tag, all the p tag gonna have 20 pixels of font size. So we make it a little bit bigger. Make it a little bit bigger. Here we have showcase button, right? We select a button because this notation, dot notation, dot button, we use it to select classes. We use to select elements which have class attribute. So I forget to define the attribute, but there we want to add some class attribute to our link. So here the class attribute is called button, and you can see that I'm going to apply some properties on my button. So for now, the anchor, A stands for anchor, right? For now, our anchor, our link doesn't look like a button, but we are going to change that using CSS. First, we are going to say font size gives me pixels, then font size weight precise if you want that the text is bold or light, but usually I use the number values, which is more precise. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the line, the underline. So to do that, I'm going to use text decoration property, and I set it on none value. Now, as you can see, the underline disappear and our text is bolder, right? I'm going to change also the color because the default color for all the link is blue, but what I want is the same color we used before, black orange color. Then we are going to add some border. So we can use the border property, and then I say 2 pixels solid. We want a solid border, and then we precise the color and the colors that we used earlier. So now you can see our button. We are going to add also a few padding because you can see that the border is too close from the text inside the button. So to change that, we want a vertical padding of 10 pixels and horizontal paddings of 20 pixels. Now you can see the space around our text. This is an internal space. We can add also external space by using margin, right? And here we just need to add margin top. So that's why I precise top. And we're gonna add 30 pixel top. So you see the button shape at the bottom, right? We translate the button at the bottom. So now we want to add some effects when the mouse go over the button. We want to change the effect. For now, we don't have any effect when we pass the mouse on the buttons. To change that, we are going to use another things in CSS, which is called pseudo class. So one of the most used pseudo class is hover. So that means all the property we are going to define inside this block is going to apply when the mouse is over the button. All right, let's add some special property. for our over. When the mouse over the button, what I want is the background color must go to white, for example. So white is FFF. And the color, you can change also the color of the text. And we want it to become, you can say blue, violet, for example. Why not? And now, you see, when you hover the button, the effect appears. So this is the effect we want, but it's too quick, too raw. We need to have a more smoothy effect. So to do that, we are going to add another property in the initial selector. So the property is transition. So we are going to add a transition, and we specify here the time you want, a time of transition. So usually the transition is between, for some effects, animation, or transition. The duration of the transition is around 300 milliseconds and 300 and 500 milliseconds. But we can go for 0.4, which is 400 milliseconds. And now you see that the effect is more slow and the change appear smoothly. So I think that we are finished for this part, for the header. One few things I can add also is, for example, we cannot see correctly our text because the image in the background reduce the readability of our text, right? So to make our text more readable, we are going to add another value there inside the background property, which is the linear gradient. So linear gradient allow you to have an overlay on your image. So we are going to lighten the image to make the text more readable, all right? So to do that, we can use white color, white, we use it twice, and we separate the two values by comma. And then, as you can see there, the image disappears, but the image is there. The image is not gone, but is covered by a white overlay, and this is why we cannot see the image. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my overlay a little bit transparent, and in this way, we can see our image with a lighten. So you see, we lighten the image, so the image is now appear, but we can read also our text in the better way, right? So this is one of the tricks very used when you start using background image. This is one of the tricks you can use also to maintain a better accessibility, because these issues, the issues of readability is an accessibility issues, and anytime you create website or web applications, you need to be careful about the accessibilities, because people need to understand, to write, and to read also correctly on your web page, on your web application, on your website, all right? So it's very important to keep an eye on this aspect, all right? So now I have finished this part, header, and we are going back to our HTML code, and now I'm going to add some contents. And here in this part, we are going to use sections tags, which is semantic tags, and session tags allow us to structure our content also. So inside the section, I can say that I want a section with ID section A, for example, and call it sec A. Here inside the section, we are going to add a p tag, which means paragraph. I can just create fake content, fake text, I don't want to invent another history or another text as I do before. So here, when you type lorem, it generates automatically fake words, but this is a fake content you can use to help you design your web page. And then you can change it we just use it temporarily for our development works. And then when we want to deploy the website on the internet, then you can change the fake content with real content to show to the visitors, all right? So I'm going to duplicate this section because I need other section. So I have section A, section B. I want also a section C, but instead of section C, I'm going to use other small div, and I can add also the content, right? Paste. So this one we can call it, and use class, and you can call it, I don't know, cards 1, and you can create 3 cards, all right? 1, 2, 3 cards. So now we've got our fake content. You can see it there, but we don't apply some special style on it yet. So for now, we are going to toggle to our CSS, and we are going to try to stylize these parts, sections. I can call it section style, all right? Okay, forget something. One thing we can add to make our button more beautiful, we can round the corner. I forget to add this. You can use also border radius on the button. Okay, add border radius. The property which allow you to add some round corner to your button. So I can say 10 pixels, yes. You see now we have round corner on our border. So yes, we'll find many times these properties used to round the corner of a button of some blocks. So next here, we'll start to stylize the section sec A, how we call it, sec B, sec A, and this is an ID, so we need to add an hashtag there, sec A, and we can, for example, start by adding some padding around it. So I'm going to add a 20 pixel padding, right? You see the difference? Now we have some space all around. So this is internal space because padding is internal space, as I explained before. We are going to use the background color. We can set the background color with our default color we used earlier. For the color for the text, you can use the white color, right? So I refresh, see the change. Again, here we are going to center our text with the text align center, right? Text align center. Then we are going to set another style for the section B. So for the section B, we can leave the background color like this in the color also. No, I think I'm going to change color, background color to, yeah, I can use this color is close to my image. I'm looking for a color close to my image color. So this is the hexadecimal color value, but as you can see, it's this color make our text difficult to read, so we are going to change it or to lighten the color a little bit. So now we can read a little bit better. I'm going to lighten again a little bit. And now you can see, I think that I can leave it like this. Now I'm going to use padding. I will add 20 pixel padding, like the first one, the first sections. Also, I'm going to add text elements, center, and color, but because the default color apply on the body, we define inside the body here is a default color apply on all the child elements. So as you can see, all the child elements inside the body have this color by default. But I don't want to change the color for this block, for this section, so I'm going to leave it like this. Other thing I can do is sec C, and for the section C, remember we have all the, for the section C, we set 3 blocks with the div tag. So as I said before, the div tag is you can use anywhere. It doesn't have semantic sense. So this is why it is different from some tags like sections or body. You can use or header. You can use also footer. Footer, yeah, I can have a footer there. You know, just to illustrate, you can have a footer tag there, and inside the footer tag, you can add some things like copyright 2022 or right reserved, something like this. Very simple. Wait, I'm going to put it inside a p tag. So cut it, p tag, right? And what I can do is I put it there. All right. So you see at the bottom, we've got also a footer. So the footer have a meaning contrary to the div. Footer section, all headers, all these tags have a meanings, and the browser know which is the goal of these tags. But for the div tags, it doesn't have meaning. So the footer, the browser don't know what is the meaning of this div, but you can't read the content of the div. So let's go back to our CSS, and then inside the section, we are going to display the three div tag using flex. See, the change happens, and then we can say display flex. We can leave it like this because we want by default a row direction. So by default, we have a row direction and we want to use it. So it's okay for me. I can leave it like this. Then what I want to use is sections C, and we are going to target the card one, class card one, right? The class card one, that's what I use the dot notation, because dot notations is used of the elements which have class attribute, right? So here we can say for the card one and also the card two, so we separate with a comma. I just copy paste, same things. I remove comma and I call it card three. Card one and the card three is going to have the same style, and what I want for them is background color or previous color, and then I'm going to change the color of the text to white. No, white, right? This is what it looks like. This is what we get. Now we set the style for these two cards, the first card and the third card. Then we are going to set the style for the second card. So to do that, what I can do is card 2. And for the card 2, I want the background color to be on my second color. So usually we just use 2 or 3 colors inside the website because we don't want to use a lot of color, because when you use more than 3 or 2 or 3 colors, it's not good for the design of the website. So many web designers, and one of the main rules in web design, a panel of 2 or 3 colors inside the website, right? So this is here, for example, the 2 or 3 color we use is white, the black, orange, and the blue, right? So we need to stick to these 3 colors, right? This is the color of our panel, design panel. And now, finish, I can just select the footer, add some padding, right? I can add also a margin, top margin, 50 pixels, right? You see, you can do something like this. You can add also a top border, right? Border top there, and you can specify 2 pixels, solid, and use this color, right? See, you can add as background. Yes, you can leave it like, all right. So this is a small land page you can use, for example, to start a project. One thing we can do later, if you generally on some website, when they finish create the land page, when you click on the read more, you land to home page, all right? And inside the home page, you have the nav bar and all the elements of your website. So this is what we want to show you today. So the project is done. The land page is finished. We've got some text. So you have an example of use of tags and HTML codes. The main advice I can give you is to train yourself. Try to find more projects on YouTube, or you can also invent some projects. Just practice again and again HTML and CSS. Also, you can explore on other websites. You can find any website and you click on the, I don't know, for example, on Pixel. When you click on fiction, you've got all the HTML content there. You can try to create some web page like other web page you can find on internet, all right? And you can just try to understand how all this design is made by CSS, using CSS, right? So I think this is a good way to improve your skills in HTML and CSS, of course. So thank you for watching this video. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like the page and to subscribe to help me and to promote my activities. Take care and see you soon. Bye. This ain't